Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to episode 143. That is a ton of episodes. I want to welcome all of you here. It is a Tuesday, and we're going to be doing some C# and JavaScript code. Greetings, hello, welcome everyone. As you know, is the normal thing, I try not to get started too quickly right at the beginning of the stream because a lot of people are just getting the notifications, and if I go into too much right off the bat, then obviously I'll have to just repeat what I said a whole bunch of times. So a couple of things I want to go over at the beginning, so let me jump into those real fast. If you are interested in seeing any of the stuff related to our projects, any of the code that we work on, the best place to do that is to go take a look at our GitHub. So all of our code is out on GitHub at github.com/DevChatter. And the main project we do is our DevChatter bot, which we call it a bot because, you know, it kind of started as a bot, but really the goal was to have it basically be the interaction layer with the stream through the commands chat and things like that. Greetings, Nakey, Supra, and Coated Beard, and Will. Hope everybody's getting settled in all right. Should be a good one. We are here on a... how to describe this? Like day before U.S. like a couple of days before U.S. holiday. So as I mentioned, normally on the stream here, most of you probably know we stream on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So if you want to catch us live, that's the best time to do it, is make sure that you're here and available on those days at the regular time. Obviously Thursday's stream is going to be canceled. I live in the United States, so that is Thanksgiving Day for us. And then Saturday's stream might be canceled. I'm not sure about that one, just because there's lots of family stuff that goes on around this holiday. But we should be back to our regular schedule next week. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday again. If I do end up canceling the Saturday stream, I will try to do a makeup stream either on maybe Sunday. We'll see how things are going. Okay, so that's the stuff going on there. If anyone else is new, make sure that you check out our Discord, as that is a great place to chat with me and other developers who are interested in coding for various different technologies. It's not just C# and JavaScript in there. Obviously, we have people that work on a lot of different languages. Most developers try to be polyglots, which is, you know, a fun way of saying we use more than one language. For example, the last time I worked on a project that was Java, for example, was less than a year ago. The last time I worked on a project that was in, I'm going to admit this, VB is also less than a year ago. But I do a lot more C# and JavaScript, obviously, as you can probably guess based on what I like to do here on the stream. And Will does not listen to devs who sit on the stream, and Will, that is correct, I am sitting again, so this is the second stream of DevChatter where I have been sitting in a chair. Normally I stand. I hurt my knee a few days ago, and I'm just trying to stay off of it a little bit so it, you know, gets better and, you know, doesn't get worse. So hence I'm not, I haven't been standing all day today, and obviously wasn't going to stand up just for the stream. Okay. So where we were, we have been working on our roguelike game for the chat, and essentially what we've got right now is this little guy that can sort of move around. You can give commands, tell him which way to go. For debugging purposes, you know, just to play around with it so we can just do it, I have the ability to just, you know, move around using a keyboard. Do I want to grab that money? I'm not going to grab the money. Okay, so here's the cool thing. So this is actually what we did last time, and that is we put in a house. So there's a couple of things that I want to do on this project right now. There's like two big things that I want to do in our roguelike game. One of the big ones is I want to make it so that you can actually enter that house. Now, when you enter it, we're going to consider that an escape. You escaped into the house, you lock the door behind you, so the next time you play, you can start out in that house. So when you start the next game, we will actually put you in a level that is that house. So that's one of the big things I want to work on. The other big thing that I want to work on in this project, aside from doing a little bit of the code cleanup, because if you're not doing code cleanup on a regular basis, your code base is usually going to get out of control. So what I want to do to make this code a little bit better right now is I want to, how to phrase this, take advantage of some coding that we did earlier. When we were setting up this project, we were discussing wanting to have a separation between the logical tracking of things that we display on that screen there. So on that grid, you'll notice that there are a bunch of items scattered around. There are those barrels that have like fire in them. There are a bunch of zombies that are about to spawn. You'll see that there's a sword, and so my character, and there's all these items that we want to keep track of. So those are all tracked through something that we call the entity manager. And anything on the entity manager is an entity that is tracked on this display. The interesting thing that we did, though, is we separated out a different concept. And that is, there are sprites that get displayed on the screen. Let me show you what I mean. So the grid, if we open this up, wow, Visual Studio, I'm opening a JavaScript file. Come on, Visual Studio, what are you doing? You're embarrassing yourself. Okay, so the grid class does a couple of things. First off, when it starts up, it sets a maximum value based on the canvas we're displaying it in. So this is an HTML canvas that is of this size. So our grid sets up its borders for its maximum positions to be in that size. That's what this is here. In addition, what it does, it removes a section for that info part. So it takes this and it says, hey, don't count that. So just this section that has the like sandy, rocky ground here, that is what the grid is managing. That's its max X and max Y. And it takes these values and it divides them by the tile size. So the tile size for our game is 42 pixels. So that means every character, every object, every item, every obstacle, everything is 42 pixels wide. Or it's displayed with a 42 pixel wide image, I should say. When we use this grid keeps track of whether or not we can get somewhere, whether a location already has an entity in it using the entity manager, and generally just says, hey, is that within the bounds? Can I step there? Essentially, like, is that, so this is basically going to check, is this location, we'll say, does it have any entities that are walkable there? So essentially we're trying to say that in the entity manager, we want to make sure that every entity that's in that space is either walkable or it's not where we're trying to step, is kind of the concept here. So we're saying, hey, we want to see, are you in our space? If you are, you better not be walkable. Obviously we could have written this in the reverse logic, but we wrote it as they either need to be walkable or have a different X or different Y. Either one of those. And so this is sort of keeping track of how we move around on that grid. Okay. The other concept is this. if we look at our sprites right over here, you'll see that we have, whoops, wrong one, hang on, wrong one. We take a look at our sprite over here. I don't worry about that. What you'll find is that we have image, width, height, and a z-index. Okay. So where is this? So this is image, z-index, width, height, index, z, and image. Here it is. So we set the image, and we get the image. So what we did with this is we basically said, hey, we're gonna need to display a whole bunch of sprites. So let's have the sprite and be like the display of that object. So right now we do allow it to have width and height of more than one square. So essentially you could do like a 2 wide thing. So maybe you have a giant monster or something like that, right? The sprite might display more than one space. So instead of having to keep track of a big enemy as like a snake, for example, where it's like a sequence of pieces, we could track it as one big piece by either setting a width or height or something like that to be 2. And we could do other objects as well with multiple dimensions. So maybe we have trucks or something that are a width 1, height 2, and then a height 2 width, a width 2, height 1, etc. This is a convenience. When we set the image, we're good with it being some kind of an element that we can display. So these are displayable types on our canvas. So if you give us any of these, we can display it. If you give us a string, what we do instead is we just say, hey, okay, you gave us a string. We wanted an image, but since you gave us a string, we'll figure it out, and we'll just create an image from it. So if you had an image object already that you wanted to use repeatedly, you could pass that in instead of creating a new image every time. So that is actually one thing you could do there. What do we want to... So that's the setter for that. I want to look at where sprite.image is used, and that is on our hang on. Add them in, get a location, get update, count. Nope, not the one. Update frame, here we are. Entity manager all. So here's what we do. So inside of this, our update frame, this is actually where we are displaying the content. So what you'll see that we do here is we say, clear out the canvas, draw the background, tell all the items in the entity manager, hey, update, and then for each one, draw them. So if we take a look at the entity manager update, you'll see that all it does is it says, hey, let me see if I need to filter anything. So we say entities filter, and we want to remove. So first off, we say keep it in most cases, but one of the ways that we'll remove it is we say, hey, entity has an attackable component. Okay, let's see if that attackable component is considered to be alive. So anything that's been killed in our system is automatically removed from the entities when we call update. So this is kind of like our, oh, hey, if the state changes, go ahead and remove these guys. So just every single time check and see if we need to remove an entity. Now, the reason why we wrote it this way, instead of just returning the is alive value of an attackable component, there's 2 reasons. One thing is, if we don't have an attackable component, we don't want to return false on that. And additionally, we could have other conditions where something would get removed. Maybe it gets removed for not being dead, but, you know, it's something else, right? It's not attackable, but it expires in some way. So that's why we wrote it this way. We're expecting to have other conditions that might remove it. Okay. So, the reason why I bring up the fact that this is where we're drawing everything on the grid, this is where we determine what image we display on there, because if you look here, you'll see we do a context draw image on the image of the sprite, and then the grid, for example, so I should point out, this is the drawing. This is what draws on the screen. Our grid does no drawing. If you look, the word draw does not appear in this file. And that is significant because we want to keep them logically separated. Now let me explain the value of this and why I'm talking about this concept, which maybe I should have mentioned at the beginning. This screen right here, we display that character right over here on the left-hand side, so he's right up there, and essentially we have this narrow path that we can work with, and that's about all we can do for display. Now what I'm thinking about doing to make it so we can do larger maps for this game, and maybe let people look around sometimes, I don't want to do this every time, but I think there would be value in sometimes having a larger map. And what we can do is, we could position our character in the center of the map, and as you move, always reposition, so our display is always centered on our character, even though we have a grid that might extend beyond that, where we are only showing within the bounds of this grid. But we obviously need to track stuff further away. So that's something I've considered there that we haven't done yet. So that's one of those things that I kind of want to build. Okay. Either way, let's go ahead and make some changes here. Sprite, get out of here. I really don't. Visual Studio annoys me sometimes with the stuff it does, because it's red squiggling these things for no reason. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a couple of things. First off, I'm noticing I don't like this logic being here. I want that to kind of live somewhere else. Let's see. Let's make a new file. What's a tiny file? Metadata is a small file. Visual Studio is not great at creating JavaScript files. I should probably just run this whole thing in VS Code, because it actually handles all this a little bit better. So instead of calling this metadata copy, I want to call this I don't even know yet, so I'm just going to call it like screen display. Which I kind of get, screen display. I think that makes sense. And while I'm thinking about it, I think I am going to edit over in VS Code, and we will just run that over there. So let me open up the folder for the DevChatter bot. So we'll execute it in Visual Studio, but I'm going to make the changes to the code over here in VS Code. It doesn't really make a big difference. And yes, I can edit them at the same time using these. And it figures it wants to update. So right behind my head, you can see it's updating OmniSharp, .NET Core Debugger, and the Razor language server are all getting updated. Hey, Rabbit City, yeah, VS Code is fantastic. There's an update. We'll get that afterwards, because I'm live right now, so... Hey, Crimson, yeah, it's DevChatter. Okay. So down in here, inside this JS, I want to open up the new file we just created, which was the screen display, right here. Let me go ahead and hide that. I obviously just copied another file, so let's call this screen display. And screen display, I want to actually be the thing that actually renders to the screen. It's going to be the thing that draws on the canvas. So aside from so not the other stuff that we were working with before, that's not going to draw to the canvas anymore. That is getting pulled out of here. So we're going to do a little bit of code extraction here. So we want this to be dealing with things like endgame. You know, the game object should understand endgame. It doesn't need to know about displaying frames and things like this. But the screen display will need to know about a couple of things. So first off, let's get it a constructor. Let me get rid of these because we don't need those. Let me just copy paste a constructor on here. That's not the constructor we're going to use, obviously. But then I won't mess up the syntax. Right, it's constructor. It's the problem with working in too many languages. We often forget what these things are. So we need the canvas. Actually, we may not need the canvas. We might be able to get away with just the context. But we'll see. So update frame. This is the one that we want to have do this. So update frame definitely needs to come over here. So there's update frame, and what does it use? This is game over, so it's going to need the game object. So let's say it needs the game, the canvas, game canvas, needs context, which it's either going to pull from the, actually, does it use canvas? Canvas. Clear canvas? Let me see what clear canvas did. It needs the width and the height of the canvas. I'm not sure it needs the whole canvas though. So it's pulling width and height off of that, but I guess we can give it the canvas. So I'm going to give it the context and the canvas. But actually, I realize if it's going to be what's doing all the drawing, this shouldn't have the context. So where did we get the context? Right here. So I'm not going to pass it in. I'm going to create it here. Because this is where I want all of our drawing to take place. So this is a little bit of smart separation of concerns, where we already sort of had the separation of the fact that there was a logical tracking of all the objects separate from the display of them. So that was still valuable. But we want to go a little bit further than that. So we're going to have game. And anything that was accessing this before is going to use this.game. Draw game over is going to come over here, except for the things that we pull over, obviously. Update frame, clear canvas. You know what? We're committed. Clear canvas. Those disappear. Draw game over and draw background. Okay, there we go. So draw game over, draw background have been moved over to here. Alright, so that gets us those values. That gets us those. Now I want to go up here. We had a couple of constants. There they are. These constants are going to live over here for now. Obviously these values we want to pull out somewhere else into some kind of a setting so that people could decide if they want to change the colors of things. Right now I'm good with, you know, hangry red and wasteful gray being over here. Let's see. We want to do, whoops. So that we have canvas context, So I was saying we want to do this. Game over is over here. We're saying if it is game over, we're going to want to change that. So that underscore is game over implies that it's a private value. We want that to be a public part of the game so that something else could determine that. Set that delay for a second, then call this dot game end game. Clear canvas, clear background, that's part of this. We don't want to access the entity manager through the game. I think it makes sense that the screen display have access to the entity manager. So we're going to give it the entity manager as part of this, because it needs to display things from that. So we're going to give it the entity manager, and then it can access it there. We have the context so we can draw with it. This understands where we're displaying. This info draw. I don't want to look at that. Info getting drawn over here. We're going to want to move that. Animation handle. Animate, wasteful. Screen display, constructor, update frame. Actually, when we start this, let's do this. Start display. Maybe we'll call it display. Display game. Not sure on that one. Either way, this is when that needs to start. All entities belong to DevChatter. So when we end game, I want to call, why don't we make this start display and end display. So we'll do start display and end display. This is a screen display. You start it and you end it, which actually then, since it is a display, we'll just have start and end. For this one, we will cancel the animation frame when you call end. So we will track the animation handle here. And at this point, we will say, whoops. We won't say whoops. We'll say this dot, this dot screen display. Did I call it stop or end? I'll call it stop. So we'll stop the display there. Yeah, that ought to work. Okay. what assigned that is game over value? I think I want to... that needs to change. We got to fix that one. I don't like the way that gets called. Either way, let's jump back up here to inside start game. We want to start displaying that. So screen display start. So we'll call the start right there. So that'll be start, that'll be stop, and this will begin doing the displaying. Maybe that's when you give it the... Let me just see what we do. We clear the entity manager. We don't get rid of it, right? We clear the canvas. Is end type, escape type. Yeah, so we don't... Okay, good. We don't get rid of that stuff. So when you stop, we're going to clear the canvas then. You stopped. That's when you clear the canvas. So right there, stop can include that, so it doesn't need to be there. Okay. So update frame is what we call, we say this underscore, it's game over. It's game over, man. Game over. Update frame is going to call draw game over. Draw game over is just going to set those values, display it. Draw the background is going to grab the background object and display it. We don't have the background object. Where's the background object and where does it get created and why is that not part of this? That's part of screen display start. We need to include the metadata. I almost forgot about that. We need to include the metadata at the top. Metadata. This one doesn't have the concept of end types and shouldn't. Andy from Lithuania, yeah, those two should actually be equal because, so Andy's asking a question in the chat about the symbols in ES6, which it is actually a very difficult concept if you're not familiar with how they work. Essentially, the idea is it gets you sort of a unique value that you can use for a lot of things, including properties. You can think of it kind of like an enum whose value is unknown, or a constant whose value is unknown. In the specific case that Andy's pointing out in there, normally when you create a symbol, you just say symbol as a method. You write symbol, yeah, so symbol bar, yeah, so this is the idea. If you write symbol and you say foo, like this. Let me show you in a browser real fast, because I think this will illustrate the point. If we pull up a console, can you see that behind my head? No. So symbol foo makes symbol foo. So that's what's displayed if we you know, see that value. But if I say symbol foo equals symbol foo, that's false. Okay, they don't line up. The question, so even though I created the same one each time, but they're not actually the same. And that's intentional. What that means is once you make that object, if you store it, that's fine, right? So I could say, you know, var foo equals symbol foo, right? And now I can say, you know, foo equals foo. And that's true. So anytime I'm passing that value, I actually have that one, it's the same. But foo does not equal symbol foo, because every time I call that, it makes a new one. If I want to get an existing one, I can access The quick explanation of this, it's sort of like accessing an IOC container. It's sort of like a repository of symbols. So the exact case that Andy was talking about is going to be true. And I will paste in the text that Andy put in our chat. It's right here. And when you say symbol.for that text, what that means is, hey, I want to access the symbol repository, and I want to get the symbol for this string. So if there is one, get that one for me. So you see, when I run this, they come back true. Because it is oh, that's behind my head. Because that's the same one. So you can see it above my head there. That one comes back true. So, but symbol foo and symbol foo did not equal true. That was false. So I just figured I'd give that quick explanation because it's a little bit technical and a little bit weird. So if you're not used to that, it seems like it's wrong, but it's very, very useful. And so we use it for things like we want to make sure the message we received is the one we're supposed to. So a good example would be if you want to track symbols are unique identifiers. Yeah, basically yeah, exactly, Andy. So when I was first asked about that on the stream, the way I explained it to people is I said it's basically like a constant or an enum that has an unknown GUID value. And so that's kind of the idea for what it is. Okay. So back here, so we get the game, we get the entity manager, we get the canvas, we get the context. When we start up, we create this background object. So when we start displaying, we're going to go ahead and create a background. The other thing that I need to pull in here, we don't need the metadata anymore out here. We don't need the background out here, so that's nice. Okay, so there's no background in that file. So we create this as a new background using the context and the canvas, which we do have. And there is the width of that. So, Andy, you passed the test. Good. I don't know which test, but glad you passed the test. So there's drawing the background. The next thing I want to look at, where's info? Info draw, right here. Okay, so that's the info section. I want to go grab that from Wasteful as well. So where is info? So this info is right in here in start game. So we're going to go ahead and display start. So we create a background, we create the info object. So this pulls the width minus the info section. I kind of want to pull that out as a value inside the screen display. Let's do it. So we're going to say grid width equals that. Grid height equals this dot underscore canvas dot height. So there's nothing weird with that one. But now instead of accessing the canvas properties, we can just use this one. So we're going to do that. So that's the grid width. Instead of accessing the canvas, we're going to do that. So I want to actually... I'm going to fully get rid of the canvas, I think. No, because we need it for the full clear. If test is passed, deploy it. Precisely. Clear canvas, canvas width and height. Yep, okay, I'm good with that. Draw game over, canvas height. Grid height. This is going to be grid width. And this dot grid height. So we draw the background. Yeah, sorry, Janisku, I killed the Magnus command, but there's still a Crimson command. That's public. This is going to be public as well. So we set those values. Info can disappear from here. It should no longer be getting used. Okay. When we create the info object, we pass in canvas context and user info display name. Okay. Ooh, that's interesting. What's in this? This wants the display name of the user to display in player name. What else does it have? We draw the player when we call it. That's interesting. So we have to just pass in the player object. Who was calling that? That wasn't getting called here. Is that part of player, maybe? I'm actually confused by that. That should not be happening. Underscore info. Screen display. Underscore info. This dot player in the drawing. So we draw the player this way. Okay. So we do that there, which means I need to have access to the player in the screen display, or I need to pass in the player when we start it, and give it to that. So we're going to accept user info here, because this is who's playing the game. So we'll pass in their display name there. And then this info draw the player. Actually, screen display might want to know about the player object at all times. And I say that because of this. If we are thinking at some point that we might want to be like locked on to the player object, then I think it would make sense to receive which object we're supposed to lock on to. So let's have that in the start. So we'll have that be player. This dot underscore player equals player. So when we start, we'll receive those objects. So start game, we will pass in user info and this dot underscore player. And I think that's about what we can get away with there. All right. Movable components, attackable components, game this one. Alright, I think I got everything, but I might have missed something. Info displays itself. Don't create that. Maybe we just put this on screen display. We don't have this be its own thing anymore. That might be the way we want to do it. So I'm going to do that for now. So let's pull this over into this object. So we're going to bring everything from this over into there, because I think it makes more sense over there. I think it makes more sense to have this thing deals with displaying to the screen. Draw background. So this is draw info. This will be underscore draw info, as this is now a private part of this. We no longer need to pass in the player like that, because we just have player. We'll extract that into a constant in the closing scope. New local. That's a terrible name. Where'd you come up with that, VS Code? This is our... it's the player health. So... player health count. Let me pull this out as well. Constant in the module scope. Fleisch! Thank you very much for that Twitch Prime sub. Greatly appreciated. And welcome to the Chatosaurus Club. Can we get some hype spammed in the chat over there? New local's not the name. It is now called heart icon. Hype, hype. Oh, Crimson did this. There you go. He spammed. He actually hit the hype command, so that caused all that. Thank you very much for the hype, everybody. And welcome. Enjoy your egg and emotes. Fleisch. Alright, so show items right line at the location specified, line number, context field. Info defined a couple of things. They had an info left top, player name and font size, which I feel like some of those need to be constants in here, so let's do this. First off, I'm going to put that there. Second, font size is now a constant. Kind of like the heart icon. So we're going to say const font size equals 16. And the nice thing is we can come back in, we can pull out all the constants very easily. They're obvious ones that come out. The left X is... needs to change its name to info left X. There we go. Okay, so font size should be used down here, and we're just going to call that font size now. Font size and font size. There we go. And Yazpal, I'm guessing, but I might have totally butchered that. Welcome, welcome, greetings. Thank you for that follow. So context rectangle, there's a stroke, draw image, fill the text. So we're going to draw in the image of the inventory items here. So when we show items, there's a bug actually with the items. And there's that follow on the Streamlabs alert. Our bot figured it out much faster. Item index. So that's for the items that we're displaying. Where did we call show items? Right here, player inventory.items. So create a rectangle for each one, draw that in there. Okay, so we're going to do a right line there to display text, points, money. Come off the player object, that grabs the inventory. Alright, let's figure out what I missed. I'm not sure I missed anything just now, but let's find out. We don't do that anymore. So instead we have to do it here. Because we don't create a new info object anymore. So instead we just do this. Now, where's info in here? So now instead of that, we're saying draw info right here. This underscore draw info. And does it take player anymore? It does not take player anymore because we have the player object. Okay, there we go. Twitch Dev had a great update stream. I didn't see it, Janisku. Did they do something interesting in their update stream? Okay, so that will do draw info. Let's find out. I think I might have gotten everything, but we'll see if I missed something. Looks like I got it working. Oh, and this is where I die. I can't make it into that house. I don't have enough items. Died. Bummer. There we go. Died on level 7. So, I do think that's a good balance. We made some changes yesterday that made it so there's randomness to which level you can actually escape on. So that actually worked pretty well. So I like that change. That's a good change. Move all screen display to own file. The reason why I did that is I want to be able to change what we display so that we can be focused on the player, even though all the objects are based on wherever they are on that grid. I want to just display a region, whether or not that's the amount of content there is to show or not. So that's the idea. Okay. Derp. Okay. That worked out nicely. So this class has gotten much smaller. I'm happy about that. It had way too many dependencies before, so this is much better. Its dependencies, it has a grid, understands with a level, item builder. I think it just does because we have a startup at the beginning. We have end types, players, movable and attackable components. Why do we have these? Move player and attack player. So this handles player movement given a direction. Need more energy. Crimson Green, you meant bonus. Bonus, not give. Well, maybe you meant give, I don't know. So one other thing that I just realized, game dot underscore, there it is. So these two things, I'm accessing those still. I need to fix this. So is game over and is end game, these concepts need to live somewhere else. I don't want to have them here. Well, I guess I sort of do need them here. If it's game over, delay it for that amount of time, update the frame, cancel that, display it. Okay. Oh, okay, Crimson Green, that makes sense then, yeah. Hang on. Tax, DevChatter, there we go. Top. Can it be originated? There we go. Okay, cool. Fixed. I am no longer on the top of the list. I don't need to be on the top of the list. It's supposed to exclude me from that list anyway. I don't know why it wasn't. But I don't exactly need coins. I can give myself coins. Okay. So I'm accessing the private variables of the game right now, which I don't like. So essentially the game is sort of managing that state. Underscore is game over. So if the player died or escaped, we set is game over to true. We reset it to false down here. Can it get all these to is game over? Yep, looks like it got them all. Nice. So is game over there. So there's all the usages of it. This will draw a game over. And then this needs to call end game. A lot of taxes. Hey, Castro. Greetings. Yeah, Crimson Green, good. We definitely want to tax any bots that you know of that got in there. I love how Crimson Green's like, oh, there we go, I can stop now, because you made it to the top of the list. Okay, so then it actually calls end game. Maybe we call end game and it calls the screen display to stop, and then we delay and then do that. So let's do that. Let's do that. We're gonna do it that way. Here's what we're gonna do. So when we call stop, we're gonna pass in all the data that's required for draw game over. Which is going to be the end type, and that's it. Okay. So end type needs to come in as a parameter, and we'll call this text to display. So text to display right there. So that's game over text. So now on this, we're going to call this text to display. And that needs to come in from... So this gets called elsewhere. So we said this is getting called on stop now. So, whoops, did not mean to click that one. Meant to click this one. We're going to take this, we're going to drag that up to here. So when we call stop, what we're going to do is we're going to say draw the game over text and then delay and then finish stopping. So before we do that, we have to stop displaying the animation. That has to be the first step. And then the second step is that we... so stop displaying the animation frame, display the game over text, and then set a delay 5,000 of 5 seconds, then clear it, and then our actual thing that we do at the end is going to be this. I'm going to clear the canvas after the 5 seconds has finished. What do we got here? So is the future of DevChatter going to be teaching Iliya to code as well? Who knows, Crimson Green? That's years away. Mr. Bubs, I'm going to see if I can get him to do a stream with us next Thursday. So that's what I'm hoping for our next Learn to Code stream. So who knows? Okay. Delay. Is that delay that? Okay. So we call stop with that value. So that means that we want to say this dot underscore end type is the text to display when we stop. So now end game needs to happen at a different point. End game needs to get called when we would otherwise have been setting the end game equal to true. So we'll do that. Turn. So we'll do this dot underscore end game there. And then, so that's the player's dead. The other one is they escaped. So then we call end game there. So either one of those. Yeah, Crimson, I'm gonna wait until he can read before he learns to code. So is game over equals true. Is this used for anything else then? True. Is game over is no longer being checked anywhere because we got rid of that. So that's great. We no longer need to track whether or not the game is over. So there we go. Coding before reading can happen. That's true, Janiscu, but I wasn't planning on it. We're not going to tell you how to parent even if you are... Thanks, Crimson. I do plan on teaching him to play Dungeons & Dragons at an early age. Might not actually be Dungeons & Dragons, might be another similar game. But I actually started playing D&D when I was very, very little. It's a great game. Very, very fun. Lots of imagination, creativity, plenty of good stuff. Show items, right line, draw info, draw background, draw game over, clear canvas. Draw game over is no longer private. That is public. No, this one's private, sorry. It gets called by one. So it gets, when you call stop, that's when we do it. Okay. Let's find out if this worked. I think that was everything we needed. So W start. Missed one. Which one did I miss? Start is undefined. Mine's 60 in this. I probably just called screen display start. Does not take in those properties. Start user info play. Wait, what? What did it say? Start of undefined. Oh, did I never create this screen display here? Derp. Inside the constructor, we're gonna say this equals new screen display. Wow, it figured it out and wired it up for me. That's fantastic. Thank you. This dot underscore entity manager. That got created already, right? Ooh, when's the entity manager get created? Down here. In that case, maybe this gets created down there too. This dot energy manager, and then the canvas. That doesn't live there anymore. Sweet. Gone. Okay, let's try that now. Alright, doesn't like that. So apparently the one that automatically gets wired up doesn't actually find it. Because this isn't in the right folder. So /js/wasteful game. And a screen display in the root. Yep, it's a sibling. There we go. Yeah, if it's not going, then it probably did die at some point. I'm messing, as I said, I'm messing with a lot of its files. It sometimes gets a little wonky. I'll restart it in a sec. So let me go ahead and let me refresh this, see if this works at all. because it may not be totally dead. It's not totally dead. Background is not defined on screen display at line 27. So wait, what? It's when I create it. What do you mean? Background is not. Oh, I didn't include it up there. Okay. Background is in the root as well. Background. And this is background. There we go. There it is, and there's a big old derp going on. That was too many coins to pass up there. Need zombies trapped by barrels to make my escape a little bit better. Died. Has died on level 6, so it immediately says that I died and then closes out the screen. And if I start it again, does it run okay? Yeah, looks like it does. I got a little clever there trying to get past that zombie. Oh man, this is getting dangerous. Now I died. I got surrounded and killed. It was worth trying. Okay, so that looks like it works. Let me go ahead and first off, I'm going to totally kill the bot. We're going to get a full restart, and while we're doing that, I am going to go ahead and commit our change. Wait, it said I died twice. We apparently called that a second time still. I must have called it an update frame still? No. That's not a thing anymore. I will look for where I called that the second time. Cremated or buried? Okay, so it's just complaining that the connection's gone. That's fine. Wasn't anything before that, though, was there? No. Okay. Alright, yeah, feel free to reload those. That's fine, Visual Studio. So I'm going to run the bot through Visual Studio, and then once we do that, it'll be up and running again, and I'll switch back to VS Code to do the editing. Over to the overlay. Scroll over to here. There we go. Alright, so the bot's back in there. Yes. Okay. So we called endgame twice. Why did I call the hub twice? Let's go find out where we called that. So the hub gets called. Hub invoke endgame right here. So this is where we call endgame. This is where we actually tell the server, hey, we finished up a game, record our stats. I must have this on the delayed ending here. So... no. The only places where I call underscore endgame are right there. Really? Player moves and is dead, or escapes. Those are the only places where I call it. Clear canvas, clears the canvas. Did I have 2 instances of the game running, maybe? I wonder. No, that can't be that can't possibly be what happened. That cannot be what happened. That'd be crazy. Let me try this real fast. Oh man, that is the luckiest thing in the world right there. That is great. There's a free escape right off the bat. So I escaped on level 1 while holding an axe and 0 coins. Don't say the message again. Don't you dare say that message again. Okay. Only 1 instance of it allowed at any given time, please, game. Okay. So that works out great. Okay. More code to screen display. Alright, so more code extracted into there. That is a good change. I like it. That definitely keeps things clearer. And I'm willing to jump back for that hype. Thanks, Janiscu. Much appreciated. Gotta love the spammed hype. Okay, so this got much cleaner. So you just entity manager attackable component. You know, there's actually a thing I kind of want to do that I'm realizing would be kind of interesting. I had planned on making like fire that you could bump into and not kill, but could hurt you. Let me just confirm I didn't change anything. Okay. Enemies. Simple zombie. Hey little babs, welcome, greetings, hey. So the component we add is a spawnable component, and a spawnable component, right there is that. So we create the game, this is an enemy. Let me take a look at enemy real fast. It's right here. So actually let me open both. Let me actually open these files. In the enemy, we create a couple of things. We give it a movable component and an autonomous component because it can go on its own. Attacking, attackable, and then on its turn we do this. We say okay, so I just figured out a bug that we've got in our system. I know the problem. Our spawnable component could be killed, should be able to be killed early. but we're not allowing it to be. You don't like the dark theme. That's funny. I don't mind this theme, but you're right, it is kind of a boring one. Okay, so let's close that. So this guy is a spawnable zombie. Where's the player object? Player, movable, on move, target at location. So if there's a target, then I can get a weapon. Use the weapon if there's a target. For each target, if there's no weapon used and the opponent has an attacking component, then it's going to attack you. So what that means is if I give the obstacle, the burning barrel, an attackable component, then it can get hurt. One change I actually want to make is I want zombies to be able to run into me and get hurt also. So right now, the only way a zombie gets hurt is if I attack them. If they attack me, then they just hit me, and I can't defend. Can't use a weapon. But what we could do instead is make it so that when they bump into something, it can attack them back as well. And what that would mean is bumping into something that's on fire could hurt you. Because we could just give it an attacking component. Yeah. So, obstacles. Barrel fire. So if we gave this an attacking component, then it could potentially do the same kind of thing. So the idea being, so if we did this, tackle component, oh no, not attackable, attacking, sorry. Derp. This, we're gonna say false on those values. False. Range 1. Damage 1. Don't bump into a barrel, it hurts. So then let's add a component. And instead of doing an array, I'm just going to pass in only my attacking component. So we'll pass in the attacking component here. Since we're not taking, it doesn't actually have turns because it's not autonomous. So we don't have to bind to turn for autonomous components. Because barrel fire doesn't have that concept. We just need to add this and then go to enemy. Or really, yeah, movable component actually almost is what needs to do it. As it's saying attacking component, if that can attack the player, it's really a movable component. If you move into something that can hurt you, then you get hurt by it. This is a test. I'm not going to keep this one because I don't want it to be the barrel that does it. So barrel's not going to keep that. Let's go to the movable component. So inside of the movable component, we move towards something. What happens when we actually do the move? So that's this. So we convert those words into the actual change that we want them to do right now. Okay, so underscore move this. If you can move to it. I'm going to publish that a move happened. Is that actually subscribed to anywhere? No. Okay. From that location to that location, if event.process this entity set that to there. So we're going to set our location to the new spot. If we can move there. If we cannot move there, we would publish a block. But there's something else that would happen. So that's movable thing bumped into something. So I could put this, we could, here, inside movable, we could check blocked and see if we get hurt. Right? We should be able to. So we're going to do this. So we want to subscribe to movable component blocked. And we'll call this on blocked. Now on I had been calling this bonking, but apparently the Brits use that as a not so great term, whereas I just meant like you bumped into a wall, you run into a wall. Call this move block. It's going to bind to this object. And so that means I need to make an onMoveBlock method. So we're going to say onMoveBlock event. There we go. The Hangman game going on in chat looks intense. How close are they? Oh, I know the word. There's your hint. On that Hangman game, I should say. Hey, Will got it. Good job, Will. Oh no, sorry. Specimen got it first. Yoink. Good job, Specimen. Yoinking that one out there. So, on move event. What do we... So, this spawnable component, this attack, move towards... event from location to location that. So what I want to do on the movable component, so we asked it for the grid, we want to get the item at that location. So our event object and the yoink has caused a duel to break out. So source from location to location, and blocked by this dot game dot grid dot hang on, I need to open up the grid because I want to see what method we have available for us on there. Grid. I forget what it's called. We have one that can get what's on a space. Oh, no, it's not from the grid. Sorry, it's not from the grid. It's from the entity manager, which maybe we don't have access to that there. Entity manager. Get at location. Pass in the location. You know what? This needs to be a location object. So we're going to extract that as a variable. Extract constant in enclosing scope. Wait, what? Where did it put that? I put it there? Oh, that's not exactly where I want it. To location. There we go, there's to location. So there's no sense in just recreating that all over the place. That's the to location. And that is get at location to location. So that gets us that. So it'll get us what entity is there. And that will actually get all the entities that are there. So, that means that in this, blocked by could be more than one thing. So in this, we're going to say, so we ran into something. As it should, yeah, so the duel breaks out. Oh, paper beat rock. There you go, everyone. So Will and Specimen played a game of rock, paper, scissors, and Will won. There's the sweet revenge for you. All right. Okay, so blocked by dot for each. Why does it want to array for each that? Guess it can. Call that target, because we called it target elsewhere too. And actually, before we do anything else, we only want to do this at all if the event dot hang on. Where is my, was it movable component? Yeah, source equals this. So event.source equals this. That is the only condition under which we actually want to do something. So that's basically our way of saying, hey, we're subscribing to all the blocked events. But we only want to get the ones where we were the thing that was blocked. So where we ran into something. And actually, I'm going to make that on move blocked past tense. So there we go. We're going to say this, that, fix the curly brace, target, and we want to see if it hurts us. So target Let's go look at player again. There we go. Okay, so if target has an attacking component, then we want it to hit us like this. So let's do this. So target, get component, attacking component. We need to include that at... Nope, we already have that at the top. So that's the target attacking component. If that one exists, then we want to say that it attacks us. So sweet. Oh man, I had no idea you could exchange DevChatter coins to buy a turkey dinner. Well, you'll have to let me know where I need to go to get that. So let's go ahead and test this out. That should be saved. Hang on, everyone. Cat wants to say hello. Say hi to everybody on the stream, Jolie. Hi, everybody on the stream. Meow. That was me, not the cat. Good kitty. Cat stream. Yeah, what a sweet kitty. Oh, see. I don't know if you guys can hear him purring or not. Probably not. Yeah, it's a cat stream today. NSO. Actually, Crimson, he is mad because I'm in his chair. That is correct. Yesterday, I think S&B had suggested that when I mentioned that me likey kitty. Yep, most people do like the cat. Like, all right, what's going on? Movable component messages is not defined. That's fine. Movable component messages right there. Const movable component. So that means I need to import it out of the movable component file. Alright, there we go. So now it's imported and we should actually have it included. Helps if I get the using statement. Oh, and we need to grab attacking component as well. Yes, we do. In which file? In barrel fire. So barrel fire is not the one that's going to get this. In the long run, it's going to be safe because the fire's in a barrel. But if the fire is exposed, that's when it's going to be dangerous to the player and to the zombies. We want it to be potentially useful to the player even. So I want you to be able to get creative and smart as you play these games. There we go. Those guys are not dying to these. They're not bumping into those. Didn't bump. Okay, so I escaped with a sword. Here's what I want to do. I want to open up the entity, enemies, simple zombie. Nope, not the simple zombie. The actual just enemy, which is over here in the abstracts. and I want to drop a breakpoint down here on move blocked. And I would also like to open up the movable component, because I want to get a breakpoint in here as well. And I apologize about this being hard to see when I'm debugging. It's not always easy to see where these are. So let's go down to blocked right here. So that's where it's going to publish the blocked message. 2 free coins. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So let's start this. Alright, one more move and this guy should get blocked by a barrel. There it goes. Okay, so he's getting blocked by a barrel. There's the entity. He is in location... wait, what? 0, 0. That's not his location. Well, there's that problem. 2 locations, -1, 0. So I'm confused by that. Did we really check it that way? Move. So we move that amount. That's not the location he's going to. That's just an amount of change to apply. This grid can move to that location. Oh, this is me bumping into the wall. Yes, that's me. I'm allowed to bonk like that. Okay, on move blocked. The source is undefined. Ooh, I didn't set that. That's weird. This is simple zombie. Okay. Source is not defined. First off, that's triggering way too many times, so there's something going wrong. But let me take a look at the movable component again. I think something didn't get set up right over here. Source is this .entity. Is the entity not what gets sent, or is it like underscore entity or something? Extends component. Let's go take a look in component. Underscore entity, that's why. Okay, that makes sense. So if we go back into movable component, I don't even know how this is working. Oh, wait, actually, we probably had a getter for it. Never mind. What am I smoking? We must have had a getter for that. That's why I'm like, because this doesn't make any sense. We had a getter, right? This entity, yeah, never mind. So we get entity that way. So why is it not pulling down here? This dot entity. In movable component, right here, when we say move, and I'm going to refresh that. So we're going to start with a new level. First off, I am going to bonk into something. So that's me going to location, so that'd be 0, 1, 2, and then 0, 1, 2, 3. I pressed down, so I should be bumping into that barrel right there. And if I step my 2 location, as I said, was 2, 3, yep. Game wanted to know if I could move there. It said no. Because I'm blocked. That's a player object. That's my locations, 2, 2. That sounds right. I'm trying to go to 2, 3. And this should get me whatever is at that location. I'm going to click that. So this should fire an event that we are subscribed to, and this event has a source object that it says is undefined. What's on this event? Oh, it's args.source. Okay, so that's why. So args.source and blocked by and everything. So that's how we check that. So I knew I messed something up. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. That definitely shouldn't happen. So what I want to do is in the enemy, on move blocked, I want to say this dot, I said args.source. Args.source equals this. And args.blocked by. There we go. Woohoo. So this should be me bumping into it. I just attempted to walk into a thing. Okay. So at this point, we should be past source, so that's simple zombie. So this means we're at the point in the this break point is at the point where the zombie has run into the barrel. And so I want to say then for each component that he just ran into, if there was more than one thing he could run into. Okay, so it didn't like that. See, I was wondering about that. That did not seem right to me. It automatically did it, and I was like, really? Okay. So I let Visual Studio do, I let VS Code do a couple of things, and that was apparently not correct. Okay, so I just let the zombie bump into that. And when that happens, we get event source simple zombie, so yep, that's it. Blocked by this. Let's drop a breakpoint in here so we can see what the attacking component is. So there is our barrel fire, is our target. We're going to get its attacking component, and it should hit that guy. Boom! Killed him. Perfect. So I can kill zombies on fire now. So zombies now die when they run into a barrel. That's pretty cool. I don't actually want them dying when they run into barrels, though, because obviously that'll make the game way too easy. See? Because they just almost immediately die running into barrels. But either way, that does kind of illustrate the idea a little bit. So we're going to remove the attacking component from the barrel, and we'll let that happen. So basically what that means is if a zombie... So a zombie will actually attack you from a space away. So he's not going to bump into you, but he might bump into a fire if he's an idiot. And those zombies are idiots. So we're going to remove the attacking component from this. Actually, let's create the open fire instead of the barrel fire. So in order to do that, I'm actually just going to copy that file, and I'm just going to call this open fire. Barrel fire will not have these components, so it will no longer be harmful to them. This is going to be the open fire, which maybe we'll call campfire, actually. I like that name a little better, because I think people will more understand what that means than with, like, open fire, right? Campfire, I think, is going to make sense. Let me see if I created an image for this already. open that in Explorer, and I'm going to jump out to the image root. Did I make a campfire? I did make campfire. Excellent. Go me. Its campfire wasn't drawn super well, but hey, you know, what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? Campfire. There it is. That's how big it is. If I bonk a barrel, does it turn into a campfire? Good question, Crimson Green. I'm not thinking it will. But let's do this now. So these pieces should work. Wait, what did I just close? Barrel fire? No. No, whatever I closed, I wish I hadn't. Anyway, I want to go to level creation. So that is level. Next, so this needs to get this code needs extracting as well. So we did some code cleanup earlier today. I want to do some code cleanup on this as well. So in here we have barrel fires get created, and I want to create at least one campfire somewhere. So let's reduce the number of barrels down to 8, and instead we'll make a campfire. So we'll add the campfires in there, assigning those random locations as well. So we'll have 2 campfires that you can use to kill zombies if you can line them up with them. In order for campfire to be referenced here, we need to add it. Which I'm actually debating whether or not I want to make all the obstacle classes be inside of the obstacle file and export separately, and then you'll import from that one file each of the different types that you want to use. So we'll pull campfire from there. So that's campfire. Level will be able to create it. Whoops. It tried to add it there. Thanks for that help. That's not actually what I wanted. Okay. Ooh, 2 campfires. So that's actually pretty nice. Campfire looked alright. Oh man, those fires might actually just be too good. I can kill so many enemies with the fire. I can basically just sit here forever killing guys. Oh, the zombies are killing each other. Ah. That's what's happening. So we have to do this. We need to make sure that that enemy thing is not that enemy spot is not another zombie. So let's go to the enemy again. Attacking component is not null. So let's do this. I want to filter this list and then for each it. So this is target. So I want to say return target instance of enemy. Let's negate it where it's not an instance of the enemy. There we go. That's a win-win. I don't want them to kill each other. Maybe I want to just see if they're the same type. Maybe zombies kill skeletons, etc. Maybe they kill versions of different types, but I think we want to do it that way so that they don't kill each other like that. That's saved. Let's find out. Okay, so that was an instance of... So zombies can run into the campfire right now. Try that again. Okay, so those guys are not killing each other anymore. So, perfect. Good. We're good. Making a strat of leading zombies to fire as possible. Yes, exactly. Yes. Exactly, Andy. So the idea is you can be a little strategic. I don't want to have a lot of fires in the level. That's why I made it like 2. I want there probably to be at most 2. But we'll probably not make it a guaranteed enemy killing location like that every time. Allow enemies to bump into dangerous objects. Now keep in mind, a smart enemy is not going to do that, because he's going to try to get around that stuff. Oh, yeah, yes, exactly, Andy. That was the entire point of it, is to make something that they could run into so you could be strategic about it. So that you could let them get killed. That is entirely the idea. Because you know how they move, how they work. You as a human knows, oh, if I stand over here and wave at the zombie, hey, zombie, over here, he's going to come like straight at you like an idiot and walk into the fire. And so that's the concept. Let's see. So I do want to fix up how we do that. Actually, what did I call that commit? Did I say, like, die in a fire? Allow enemies to bump into dangerous objects. Okay, no. If I'd said, let them die in a fire, that would be, like, really kind of aggressive. Pretty funny, potentially, though. Item idea, drop cat brains near fire to lure them over. Oh, that's funny, Andy. Yeah, drop some kind of item there. Janisku, if you want to get user, you get the user ID, but from the update, you get user ID and username. Oh, Janisku, that is actually amazing. That is actually the Twitch update that I wanted. That has been a major problem for all of us that connect to Twitch and get any kind of information that way. So I think it is wonderful that they changed that. I want to change how obstacles work. Alright. I want to change a couple of things. First off, wall pieces are no longer going to be part of obstacles. But I actually might want another folder for them. Let's make a folder. Actually, maybe walls are part of level building. They're entities, so maybe they're structural entities? Yep, move those into that folder. So now let's look for where X-wall's been used. Okay. So I think I got that fixed. That's part of structure now. What's going on out here? Is folder? I've never heard anybody say folger. It's always folder. It's a hard D sound. Yep. That's a made-up pronunciation there, Andy. And by made-up pronunciation, I just mean it sounds like it's an accent. Yeah, if we were saying it like that, we'd practically write it like this. and it would be, you know, the same pronunciation, sort like that sounds a little bit like soldier, for example. But nope, nope. That is not a way that we would say that. Whoops, that's obstacles.js. And we're going to take this, put it in there. We're going to take this, put it in here. There we go. So now I do not need those files anymore. And I'm going to look for anything that used the word campfire. And we're going to import both of these, barrel fire and campfire. Whoops. From, and I'm going to call it obstacles.js. Is that the only location for those as well? Export, import, new barrel fire. Yep, okay, looks good. Okay, so now I want to take obstacles, move it out to entity. Yep, move it there, so this folder is no longer needed. Yep, get rid of that folder. So obstacles is now a class out here. It has campfire and barrel fire. Perfect. Okay. Folgers, the coffee. Yes, that is correct, Will. Maybe you know one vulgar guy? Nikki Supra. What statement is vulgar? That I didn't realize was a vulgar word. So campfire and barrel fire are both entities, and they do that, and that's their type. Okay. So we're gonna refresh this page. We're gonna make sure this works at all. Looks like it still does.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Thank you, whoever that was. Misties? Thank you for that follow, much appreciated. Oh man, I am so dead right now. Dead. Bummer. There it goes. Okay, so, Darksea. Yes, this is actually vanilla JavaScript, which is, yep. Basic JS. Yeah, we are using ES6, so it's actually pretty darn cool. I like it. Probably reference to folder sounding like vulgar is could be Nikki Supra. Yeah, so Darksea, we actually use Vue.js in one of our other projects. We're actually using canvases here, so we're not doing Vue.js. We're not really interacting with the DOM. So we do Vue.js on one of our other projects. But welcome. Feel free to ask questions, make comments. Let me know what you think of what we are doing. Always appreciate it. Welcome And welcome, Sniper, as well. Thank you very much for that follow. Greatly appreciated. So we just allowed those guys to bump into that stuff, and they die when they run into a fire. So that makes sense. Let's go ahead and commit this change. So this is restructuring these pieces. Reorganize the obstacles. Okay. If you got a sec for coding question, I noticed the event class. Are those JS native events? Andy, you're talking about when we do our publish events in our components. Hang on. You are talking about the ones that run through here. So this is an event here, Andy. So we're using our event class here, has arguments. It's got that method, and essentially the mediator has a subscribe, an unsubscribe, and a publish. So the idea is that you subscribe to events, and you can unsubscribe from those same events, and then you can publish to them. One of the changes that I realize I might want to make is I'm not sure whether or not we're still calling when an enemy dies and we get rid of it, or is it still paying attention to any events? So we subscribe here, but I'm not sure we ever unsubscribe from any events. So that could be an issue. We might be doing some extra work. I want to take a look at that. So that is a great point. We might wanna check that out. Okay. Let's see. So right now we have simple zombie. Simple zombie's stupid. Inside abstract we have it has enemy, and what do we do with this? Inside this we have, oh sorry, I meant movable component. Where's movable component? We want to go into components, movable component. Movable component has pathing. So right here, in order to make a smarter enemy, I'd like to have a smarter enemy when we get to some of the higher levels. For anybody that is wondering, we actually already have the pathfinding in here. We put it on our grid for now because we needed it somewhere. So this essentially let us find the path. Movable component should have access to the grid already. So if I go to movable component, we should be able to get the grid, because we have the we don't have the best way to get it, but we should be able to. Component must have game then, which it offers as a property. So let's go in here and we're gonna say this dot game dot grid. Andy, I see you have a question. I'm gonna check that in a second. Just let me get this real fast. Okay, so I did give myself access to the grid there. Congrats, everyone. Second cat stream, so I will answer the question while I hold this cat. Okay. Another question. You seem to like inheritance as the way to reuse and tidy up the code. Oh, so no, Andy, not at all, not at all, not at all. Composition over inheritance is exactly what I say all the time. Composition is, you want to favor it over inheritance. That doesn't mean that you get rid of inheritance. So you'll notice there's a small amount of reusability in the fact that there's some basic things that all entities have. And the things that all entities, so all the entities in our system are things that can be displayed on the screen, but they all interact differently. So if you notice the components, we have a movable component, an autonomous component, an attackable component, and an attacking component. That's the element of composition that's in the classes. So the idea is, if we were using inheritance, then enemy would have autonomous component on it. And that's just not the way that we developed it. So no, we're not. We are actually favoring composition over inheritance. That doesn't mean get rid of inheritance. That's why it's a favor one over the other. So important distinction there. We don't want to get rid of inheritance. It's good stuff. And Valdene BR, is that Brazil? I'm guessing, but welcome. And if it's not, I don't know where it is, but. And I apologize if I butchered your name, but welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. And that is a great question, Andy. Great question. Yes. We definitely want to favor composition over inheritance. Okay, so inside of movable component, we are accessing the grid. And let me open up the grid again. Oh, could be Brussels. Could be Brussels. That's a good guess as well, Crimson. And I guess it's whether it's Valdene or Valdeni, something along those lines. But welcome all the same. So find path is what I want it to be called. So find path. So if it's advanced, find the path, start location, end location. So it takes it in as location objects. So start location, end location, move towards location. So that means we want to move towards XY, and we are going to do this dot movable component must have a location, right? Has to have its own location. This entity location. There we go. This entity location, X and Y. Perfect. And welcome, someone. Thanks for following. Western K, welcome. Thank you for following. Much appreciated. I don't want to comment because I may... Scripts, don't worry about it. I am glad to answer questions. No need to worry about asking what you think might be a dumb question. I will, endeavor to answer it and be helpful. Path equals. We are all beginners at some point. We are all learning at all points in our career. So there is no need to worry about that. So there we go. So that gets us our path, and we'll say, exactly, Crimson. No dumb comments here. As in, like, comments here aren't dumb. Not that dumb comments aren't allowed, because that's not what we're saying at all. Appreciate the comment there, Andy. Yeah, we are all learning. I learn many things as we do these streams as well. This, whoops, I can type today, guys. This dot move underscore move. Move to a location, that's when we attempt it. Okay, so that's attempting to move. Alright, cool. So what I wanted to confirm, so it's this underscore move, and we were trying to go to path 0. Oh, I should say path length is greater than or equal to 0. No, it's great. If it's greater than 0, then we're going to attempt to move. Otherwise, we won't move at all, I guess. So let's do that. We'll just, and I'm going to put it inside a comment here for now. Don't go anywhere. No path to target. Okay, so only smart comments, yeah. This guy sounded strange, and this guy, Andy? What do you, I don't know what you mean. No, yeah. As I said, there is no worry about asking dumb questions. I want to ask dumb questions. Because the idea of the dumb question usually means beginner level question to get understanding, and sometimes it's the question that leads whomever you're asking to realize they're doing something wrong. I mean, probably referencing to you as this guy doesn't sound polite in English. Oh, Andy, it's actually it's not a. I did not take it in an offensive way. But yes, you could say streamer or Brendan or DevChatter if you wanted to, not say this guy. Okay, so grab the first one, move to that, move path, location. Actually, hang on. Move takes an X and a Y. So I don't want to move to the path 0. I want to. First step dot X, first step dot Y. Because the grid find path, where is that? When I find path, that should get me back a path that probably contains an X and a Y, which I guess we'll find out. So I'm gonna hop over here and open up movable component. We're gonna debug this. Let me get rid of that. And I want to move towards location. Hang on, refresh this. For advanced, let's go to the zombie. We're gonna make the zombie smart for a second. So, enemy, hang on, where's an enemy? Enemy, movable components. Movable components, what? Move towards location. We never set that value. So this needs to be. It's movable component, advanced. No. There we go. Let's see. Sometimes I get the feeling that small languages nuances make my written sentences sound quite strange or rude, so Quite interesting to think about those. That is very true, Andy. There's a lot of nuance in language that people have to be careful with. And yes, I agree. The dependency list on this is kind of long. The reason why it's got that many is because an enemy has a few components that it uses. So we do kind of need that list just to be able to have this. I don't really see a great way around that one. So. Okay, I want to set this value. Oh, do I just set this dot advanced? Okay, so if I set that, whoops, did not mean to do that. It's a Boolean. Advanced. Move towards location, advanced. So enemy, and we're gonna set that equal to false. So default is false, so no one had to declare it yet. When we say move towards player, move towards target. Underscore advanced. So that'll be determined whether or not we're advanced. So when we move towards a target, that's what will determine it. So it's getting set to false by default there. This one's getting set to false by default. This one's going as well. And then we change the simple zombie to just say true. So if we make it advanced, we need a facade pattern. We're all aspiring devs hanging out here. No need for political correctness, but it is a family cat show, so be nice. Well said, Will. Well said. Alright, refresh this. Simple zombie should be smart now. We think. We'll find out what happens. So he's attempting to move. This gets us back a path of length 0. What? He said advanced true. Trying to find a path from 11.3 to 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I must actually be here. 5 and 2. I just stepped past that, I think. It's not finding the path from that start location to that end location. Nope. I would say path finding is not working right now. That was dumb. Alright, let's see what's happening with this. Step into this. Whoops, not that one. Step into the find path. Start locations there, end locations there. That makes sense. So starting at 3-1, wanting to go to 4-3. Jump down to there. So that makes the grid. That should be all the obstacles. So there's the fire. There's the barrels. That looks right. It's 5 rows of 13 items. So that looks like the... You'll notice that that little array we've got there is the mapping of all the obstacles. And zeros are where it can step and ones are where it can't. So that's our path grid. There's our finder. So that should make the object that does that. And then when we say find a path from the start X, Y location and a grid, we expect that to work. This comes back as an array length 0. Oh, because I can't step on the player? Is the player an obstacle? Hang on. Maybe the player's an obstacle. 0-1, that's that. So that's the zombie itself. So we need to ignore movable components. Movable components don't... the player itself doesn't count, so ignore the target. Ignore the target, ignore self when pathfinding. We could always find a path to the exit because you could step on the exit, but you can't step on the player. Okay, I understand why it won't find a path now. Okay, so if we go to our pathfinding inside of our grid, we need to make sure that end location is not ignored. If this can walk on, or something I want to check. Drop a breakpoint there. So when we get to this point, I want to do a quick little test here. I want to just check something in JavaScript. I want to say, what is it? It is end location. So 5x5 y3. What? My var equals that. Oh! I'm missing a comma. That's amazing. That was hilarious. I was like, why won't that work? Missing a freaking comma. Okay, so those definitely are not equal, but there's a... yeah, comma missing. There we go. Ignore movable on current position, but don't ignore on its future position. Movers need to make their moves in a queue-like fashion. Exactly, Andy. Okay, so we're gonna skip that for now and not worry about it. Oops, get that breakpoint off, otherwise we'll just hit it forever. So for this, I just want to, I'm going to get rid of the ternary that we were using, so we'll say this dot underscore can walk on x comma y, can walk on, or end location x equals x and end location y equals y. And I want those to be triple equals, actually. And let's say start loc and end loc. Whoops. End loc. End loc x, y, triple equals that, and that. Ors happen before ands, right? Although, you know what, I'm going to leave the parens in there regardless. If this can that, then that. Clearing out the ternary. I think a lot of people will like that one better because this gets a little messy. I need to name this. So we want to extract that as something. Extract to is same location. Or I could make it a variable. Is end location. Is target location. Is target. I'll say is end loc. Is end loc. There we go. Okay, that makes sense. The X and the Y match. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna do this. This up. W start. Start up the game again. Ooh, nice. Hang on, let's see how smart this guy is. Well, he's not moving, so he's probably not that smart. Okay, so let's check his path again. Step over. Ooh, path exists. Okay, so we're clearly just pulling the values wrong. So first step has a 0 and a 1 instead of an X and a Y. That's dumb. So it doesn't have X, Y, it has 0, 1. Yes, in this case, Andy, it is the player, but you gotta remember, we're using that not just for finding the player, but really for finding any specific target we're trying to walk to. So yes, in this case, it is player. So I want to do something with this. I don't like the fact that the path object we got, this path returns back 0 and 1 instead of x and y. So I want to map this to something more useful to me. So we'll say step 0. So we're going to say x is step 0, y is step 1. I think is the way it structured that. Oh, whoops. I guess I could wrap it in parens and it'd figure it out. Also, there we go. Parens worked. Okay. You need to enclose the expression with parentheses. Yeah, I can. Yeah, exactly. I could use it. Well, I could actually either return with curlies or I could use parens. Either ones. So, I was just confused at first. I'm like, wait a minute, what's it do? Oh, right, it thinks this is that. Okay, so that should convert it so it becomes x and y, I think. So this should be wanting to go to a, let's see, 3, so x is 1, so it should be wanting to go down. So yes, that wants to, so 0 is x and 1 is y. Okay. So, well, first off, since I get the chance to do this, I'm going to escape with that sword right now while these guys are dumb. There we go, I escape with my sword. Yeah, exactly, Andy. Exactly, yep, just like that. Those are my two options. So this should do the conversion. Let's refresh this page. It will become obvious right away if we've made these zombies smart. Nope. They're not smart yet. That's for sure. Let's find out what's going on. Did I type that right? Okay, I did. How am I randomly getting the house every time? That's crazy. Okay, so this guy wants to move towards my player. Let's step over that and see what path object we got. So the first item should have an x and a y then. It is. So the first step should have x and y. Yep. So we're saying move to 3. X is 3. Wait, hang on. Wait, what? Oh, no! It's his starting location! It's telling him to go to his starting location. Well, that's not gonna work. So where do I want that? So I feel like I almost want this thing to give back a path that doesn't include the starting location. That's the problem. Movable component, find a path. So first step will be 1 then. We'll refresh the page again. Let's see if that makes it work. Let me hide that for now and just let him go. Oh man, yeah, he's smart. Oh geez, look at that. Oh no, they're gonna kill me. Oh man. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I could just shift the first one away before we return back, but man, those zombies are like murderous now. Oh, man, that's terrifying. That is terrifying. Hey, see my lightsaber! Hype, hype! Alright, so... That is hilarious. Oh, man, that is murder. Whew! Yikes. Ah, jeez. Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna change up both parts. Let's change the grid and the way it gets us that data. So the grid, instead of returning back all of them, we'll ask it to shift that first one off. So we're gonna get rid of it. Path.shift. I like the suggestion. So we're going to nuke the first item. So we're going to return back the correct one. And then in movable component, we can just grab the first one. We could technically shift that off too. And Andy, yeah, we could slow them down. And yes, you're right. That's one of the annoying things is the pathfinding system returns back the starting location as the first one, which we didn't want. Either way, the nice part about that is this. Now that we've done that, I am going to go to the zombie, simple zombie, and where we said advanced true, I am just going to get rid of that. So zombies are going back to being dumb. Zombies were never intended to be smart. Zombies are supposed to be the dumb ones. Whew, this is a dangerous place. The character's found himself in. Well, I guess this is where I die. I don't have any way to get this guy. Andy, you just read the dumb algorithm. Yes, exactly. Yes, that, and it's supposed to. It was funny. Someone was like, "Oh, you should make it smarter than that." I'm like, "No, zombies are dumb. Zombies just move short path towards the closest thing they can get. Like they're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna kind of generally go towards you." Yeah, exactly. So, hence, zombie. This is literally the zombie thing. He's like, oh, which way towards the player? Okay, go that way, and it does it in order too. So they try to correct X and Y first, and I did that so that with zombies you can outsmart them. If they were thinking both directions, it's harder to play tricks on them. So we did that so that you can essentially just treat the zombies like idiots. Okay, so we added an advanced field to the enemy. That's an advanced enemy. It starts out false. We assign the value. We pass that in when moving towards the player. We add pathfinding. So I'm going to leave this out for now. So we can commit the advanced pathfinding separately. don't go anywhere, no path to target. So the smart one won't even move if there's no way to get to the player. Won't even bother moving to the closest spot, which means that he won't get himself killed either. So that's why he's the smart one. So then this is fixing how we do the pathfinding, which means that this whole thing is... we'll say add advanced enemy pathfinding. Actually, no, that's not that. That is adding advanced, alright, I'll include it. There we go. We'll do the whole thing. Okay. So, that'll work. Alright. Well then, a couple of things I want to mention for anybody that is new here. My name is Brendan. Welcome to DevChatter. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. We are always happy to answer them. If I don't get to your question, someone in chat might as well. There are a lot of friendly people here. Don't feel bad about asking questions or anything like that. If you missed any of the video that we did here today, you can actually find a recording of that here in the videos section on Twitch. It's actually already there. It's recorded as we do this. So you can go back and watch anything from the beginning of this episode that you missed, and you can also see our previous episodes where we started developing this game that we're working on. If you want to chat with me and any of the other DevChatter viewers outside of the stream, the best way to do that is to join our Discord. And Discord is a chat application that's commonly used by gamers, Twitch streamers, and lots of programmers working on their own custom projects, as well as other creators as well. And you can find us over there and chat with us in Discord. Link is in the chat, as well as down below the stream or video feed, depending on when you're watching this. And if you're in the future, hello, greetings, future person. I hope everything is great there. I'll be there soon. If you are a developer that is interested in looking at any of the code that we write here on the stream, whether you want to contribute to it, just see what we've been writing, or send us, maybe you just want to dig into it, have a look. That code is out on GitHub at github.com/devchatter. Link over there in the chat, as well as down below the stream. We have recordings over on YouTube as well as the ones I mentioned here on Twitch, so you can find a whole bunch of stuff over on our YouTube channel linked as well. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I would really appreciate it, and that'd be a good way to get notifications when we go live and other information and fun stuff. Links are over there as well as down below the stream for both the DevChatter Twitter account as well as mine. I want to make sure that I tell you all that our normal streams are on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And if you want to find out our schedule, you can see that down below the stream in the panels below. Or you can use our schedule command, and you could do something like schedule in Florida. Maybe you're in sunny Florida and you want to see what our schedule is. You can go ahead and do that, and it will tell you. We are also doing another stream that I'm hoping that you guys can tell all your friends about, which is we're doing our Learn to Code in C# series. And I'm going to schedule the next one of those probably for next week. And if you tell people about that one, we can help them learn how to code. So beginner programmers really do need to learn, and it's greatly appreciated if you let them know about it. At this point, I am going to make sure that I thank everybody that helps out today. We have a lot of contributors to DevChatter that make it possible. We have a lot of people that help and contribute both by being here, hanging out, telling people about it. And then we also have people that go out of their way to help support the stream by being our subscribers here on Twitch. And they get nice things like badges, emotes, and things like that. And I also have Patreon supporters that help make sure that I can keep doing this stream. And I want to make sure that I thank everybody, so we are going to run our credits for the day. And they are right about here. So, thank you to our moderators for helping out today, Crimson Green, and Crimson Green was the main one that was helping out today. And we had a bunch of fine people follow us today, so thank you for those. And Fleisch with the sub! Much appreciated, Fleisch. And everyone else who is here, have a happy rest of your Tuesday. Enjoy your day. Happy coding. We will see you not Thursday this week, because that's a holiday here in the US. But I should be back maybe on Saturday, and if not, we'll do a weird stream on Sunday. So take care, everybody. I will see you on the weekend. Bye.